Hi. This is technically my third video, but I haven't really posted in a while, so a lot has happened ever since. I graduated law school for one, and now I'm in Southeast Asia, Bali, for the first time in my life. And even though I'm Asian, this is obviously very much different from East Asia, like Hong Kong or China or Japan or South Korea, if you're counting my home country. So I just thought it'd be kind of funny to see that, like, oh my god, I'm in South Asia, East Asia for the first time as an Asian person. It's just completely new to me. And there's honestly nothing to complain. I got a full villa with like a private swimming pool, two-story villa, cleaners coming in every single day, food, a massage, the aesthetic, beach. Like, the food is so organic that even my eczema that's been bothering me for a very long time is just like long gone. And as a digital nomad or a Wi-Fi moneymaker, there's nowhere better than here because there's like a literal galaxy of coffee shops and co-working spaces with beach, poolside with like quick Wi-Fi. I can't like even list it all, but there's just one thing that's really bothering me to be just blindly happy um, about all these, even though it offers like huge advantages like I just mentioned. And that one thing is the complete absence of local culture. So currently I'm staying in Uluwatu. Uluwatu and Canggu are two of the most touristy, like popular areas in Bali. And like, mind you, I've been to so many places and cities that's already been suffering from over tourism. For example, like Barcelona, Kyoto, Spain. Yeah, like all those, well, Barcelona, Spain. Where else? Paris, like everywhere. And this place just showed me an entirely new layer because what truly surprised me is that whenever I go to like a restaurant or cafe, there's no Indonesian. It's just all English. And everywhere, like cafe and restaurant, like everywhere is just so tailor-made perfect for like Instagram photos and feeds. I don't know how to explain it, but it's very perfectly tailor-made for Instagram photos for those English-speaking people there, probably. And like if I think about examples, it would be like when I see those restaurants advertisements, it says like eat, feast, repeat, or our croissant is better than your ex, it's brunch time, baby. Like, these are just not what locals would say, and these phrases are just so Western. And what else? Like, there's like some real estate advertisement that I was just passing by couple days ago, and it said like, if you want to make a wrong decision, ask everyone, which is a very inspirational quote, and I totally agree with that. But like, what? Like, how come advertisements are in a language that not a lot of people speak like so much fluently? And obviously it's a real estate, so it's probably targeting those like rich foreign people who are willing to buy some land here, which is like fine, but also you get the point, right? It's very Western. And it's just same with the demographic, everywhere I go, like gym, cafe, restaurants, they're Indonesian servers and like Western guests. There's a clear boundary, and there's not a single Indonesian like people. Maybe there are. Maybe I missed it. I've only been here 2 weeks, but I've been to cafe like almost every single day, and I haven't really seen an Indonesian local person enjoying a acai bowl or a avocado toast, something like that. And obviously this is not a criticism, but I bet tourism is taking, it's taking 60% of Bali's GDP, and that's pumping up the economy. But what I'm just trying to say here is that like whenever I see those things, I'm just like a little bit concerned of the direction, because once that, if it's 60%, that's like 2/3 of the country's economy, right? So if 2/3 of the country's economy is just centralized to cater those Western tourist needs, which is fine, but then if it's only central to that, the actual industries that really boost the economic development in the long term might not get enough human resources and attention that it might need for Indonesia's own growth. And this is just making me think about, the policy directions of Indonesian government, in which I don't have a lot of say in it. And the reality is that those posts that we see on Instagram has a really steep cost to the locals and, like I said, the long-term economy. And when I say it's like very central to the tourism, I really mean it, because there's a lot of constructions going here. Like even in the backyard of my villa, there's a construction like everywhere, at least in 3 places just in the back of my villa. There's like from day to night, even until like 9 p.m. I sometimes hear those like, construction sounds going on. And, all these later become like 40-unit villas where I'm staying in right now. Just perpetuating the problem, I guess, which is hypocritical, but like at least I recognize it. Mega malls or beach club, fine dinings, and the real problem is that whenever I go to like a cafe to work, I see this absolute like empty the dump area or like paper houses, and it's juxtaposed right next to the most beautiful cafe I've ever seen that serves an avocado toast or egg benedict. And this just gives me a very like, I don't know if it's the right term to use it here, but like a cognitive dissonance. And it's also partly the reason why I've never walked for longer than 8 minutes in Bali, because of all the constructions, and because of those constructions there's no like road for pedestrians. And I don't think this is a tourism like problem. I think it's just like their culture, transportation culture. And that's fine, but I'm just trying to say that there is a lot of constructions going on that is to the extent of affecting everyday, walking life. And apparently there's going to be a 182-meter glass cliffside elevator so that tourists can reach world famous beach. And the bigger problem is like this. The majority of land holding in Bali are usually like individually or, like family owned for like a freehold title. It's probably usually like farmers are in here, right? But then these like Balinese farmers or those locals is currently like very much pressured to sell their land, because the tax system here is basically, it's calculated based on the value of the land. And what this means is that if it's calculated based on the value of their land, if there's like a mega hotel chain or villas coming in like Marriott, Ritz, something like that, the farmers can no longer afford that tax band assigned to that area of the land. And this is just, I can't really say much because what would I really do by saying here? But I'm just trying to say that this tax system is a little bit like concerning, and it probably explains the reason why a lot of Indonesian students are even trained to go into the tourism industry at a very young age. So what I see here is the self-destructive over-reliance on tourism. And obviously, like, I was very guilty, and I still feel guilty whenever, I feel like I'm paying way less than I should be doing. But, the answer is not just stop visiting, because I think in the short term it would create a huge problem if we just like collectively decide to like boycott Bali for some kind of like tax system reason. So I was thinking like, what can I do as a person who's already here, right? And I think the first thing is to be grateful. Duh. But I don't think a lot of people are really doing that here, because I see those videos and it's just really deeply annoying, at least to me. And I think it's just important to be nice to the locals, because, at the end of the day, they deserve like gratitude for tailoring it to our languages, to what we can speak. I doubt if a lot of people here, like Western guests, even including me, even know how to say thank you or just basic phrases in Indonesian, because that's the extent of like how much we don't need the Indonesian here at all, or like Balinese. And honestly, I gotta admit that I also relied on that, and then I didn't really do a lot of research for that before coming here. And I think it's also extremely important to stop modernizing Bali and respecting the animals here, not trying to do some things that you are not going to do in your country. And obviously, like trash. Yeah, because the thing is, when I was walking down the beach, I was like just walking barefoot, just like anyone would normally do. But then I saw this like really shiny, like pretty rock stone. And then I picked it up, and then I soon realized that it was actually a needle. Yeah. And it would be for an obvious reason. And that's just like, yeah. Anyway, after that, I started to wear sandals. I bought a flip-flop literally the next day so that I can wear that on the beach. And maybe just it's my thoughts, take it or leave it, but maybe tipping or visiting some local businesses that are also not so much tourism central businesses. So this wouldn't include like all the cafes or like rental property, other businesses. Maybe we could explore it together. And I do have like other thoughts on the tax system and the other ideas, but at the end of the day, like I'm not a perfect traveler, and I realized that I had some wrongful expectation of being able to like, I don't know, I just had some crazy Southeast Asia like adventure. It's not about like, oh, I want to figure myself and like all that, but I just had like a different expectation of the nature and like the way that I would be very active here instead of riding the Grab motorbike and then hopping into a cafe and sitting there to like do my work and then hopping on the Grab and then going back. Anyway, as a frequent traveler, like it's hard to be ethical most of the times because I know that I would like, you know, have some kind of impacts, whether that be good or not, everywhere I go. But this time is my first time like staying for a pretty long time, like 2 months. So I'm trying to be sensible and I'm trying to work out the common sense, because even though this place seems like this entire place is existing to serve the foreigners, the tourists, and frankly, you know what, I'm just, you know, it kind of feels like a Disneyland tailored for foreign tourists. But really it's not, right? So I think it's important to just keep in mind all that for now, for us, what we can do as tourists. So that's that. I'm really excited to go to like other areas in Bali as well, because I've only stayed in Uluwatu, and yeah, it's kind of funny that I'm making this video about like as if I know all about Bali, but it's been my 2 weeks and this has been a very recurring pattern here, so just wanted to throw it out there. Thanks for watching. See ya.